All right, everybody, we're sitting here talking to former NFL defensive back RJ Stanford. How's it going, RJ?
It's going good, man. How you guys doing?
Oh, pretty good, pretty good.
Pretty excited about this one. I remember when you were on the Panthers, and that's our team. So we were hoping we could ask you a little bit about that, if you don't mind.
Oh no, no. What do you want to know?
Everything. No, we're from Charlotte. We do this from, well, not exactly from Charlotte, but a town right outside of Charlotte. So yeah, Panthers are our hometown. They're kind of our favorite team. Everybody who listens to our show kind of knows it. But
Yeah.
before we get too much into the Panthers, where did you play high school and all that at?
I'm from Southern California, so I played high school ball in Chino, man, at Chino High School. It's in the Inland Empire out there, and I started as a running back. Sorry, man, I'm fighting this cold.
Oh, you're good.
Yeah. It's fall time, man. You know I'm
Oh, it's
tropical,
terrible.
so
Yeah, it's terrible out there.
this weather gets to me a little bit on the East Coast. But yeah. So, man, I was a running back throughout high school, and then going into college, I was getting recruited as a running back and a corner. But some of the schools were looking at me as a corner, and I didn't want to play corner at the time. So I, kind of disinterested in some of the colleges like Oregon State and some others that were looking at me for defense. And Utah was one of the ones that wanted to keep me as a running back. And I took a trip up there, and it was different for me being in Southern California, going up to a bottom of a mountain base, up in Salt Lake City, where it snowed and it had long winters. And but a lot of my teammates were from California, Texas, Hawaii. So it felt like home in Utah, and I felt comfortable. At the time, there was a small school still beating up on the bigger schools. They were going to bowl games every year, and man, I just had an awesome time, man. Really, I kept my nose clean, being up in Utah. Some of my other buddies I played high school ball with went to Arizona State and San Diego State, some of the other party schools. I knew I couldn't handle that, man. So Utah was a great environment, great coaches, man. I really just had and my teammates, man. Honestly, I still talk to a lot of them till today. A lot of us got drafted after we beat Alabama in the Sugar Bowl in 2008. So still keep in touch with a lot of those guys, man, from Utah.
So so I'm
Yeah.
looking at your high school stats here, and it says in 2004 and 2005. Listen to this. This is crazy. Carried the ball 233 times without a fumble for 1,800 yards and 28 touchdowns in high school. In freaking
Yeah,
high school? How many games
yeah.
y'all play in a season? Like 10?
Well, you know what? That those stats are a little screwed because I missed about 2 games.
You missed
Oh
two
man,
games.
yeah, yeah. I missed 2 games, man. My senior year, I got in a little trouble. Uh, got suspended, so I had to wait 2 games to play. Um,
Oh my
so
God.
I feel like I could have had a couple more touchdowns, a couple more yards, but ultimately, I didn't even notice, man, until I looked at that stat after I was done playing that, I didn't fumble once. That was just something that I unconsciously did. It wasn't one of those things that my coaches even had to beat into me about like holding on to the ball and ball security and things like that. It was just, man, it wasn't even a thought really. It was just, I don't know, just my biggest thing was first downs and touchdowns. So the ball was the second thought. Sorry, man. Let me clear my throat.
You're good, bud.
That's pretty rare, like at that age, because most people have at least some fumbling problem in high school or college. It's
Yeah.
crazy.
Oh, yeah, man. So,
Gosh.
so said all that, man, and then we had a great season at Utah. Um, Played well. Like I said, the bowl game, Sugar Bowl, that kind of catapulted us. Like I said, we're the small team still beating up on the big schools, and back then we were still in the Mountain West Conference. When I left my senior year, we got to the Pac-12. Um, but yeah, I was getting drafted. One of my coaches, JD Williams, he came in. And mind you, I had a lot of great coaches, man, at Utah, truly. But just to give you a little background, my freshman year at Utah, I was running back, and I was getting the garbage time, right, like the little fourth quarter, 2 minutes left in the game, kind of deal. And then I had a good time, man. But like I came from a I back formation, right, in high school, with the fullback. And man, shout out to my fullback, man. He was just unselfishly just blocking, man, for me. But then I get to Utah, and it's a single back, right? I back,
Hmm.
single back, spread offense, four receiver wide. And man, I'm not built to block no Mike linebackers at 240 pounds, man. So I was just like, man, I just want the ball, right? Give me the ball outside the tackles, toss sweep, right,
Yeah.
left. But they wanted me to be the fullback and the running back, right? And it just kind of changed my whole game and my dynamic. I'm not used to it. I'll cut somebody, like I'll cut, the defensive end or the linebackers coming in. But I wasn't a big blocker, right? So me and my coach, he was trying to, he had that old school, like, WWE mentality, Stone Cold Steve Austin, man. His name was Dave Schramm, man. Shout out to him. But he was like, get your piss hot. You got to bow your neck up and be the hammer, not the nail. And just this whole, like, mentality of this Punisher, right? And it was all good. That just wasn't my style, man. And so we kind of just were at odds a little bit. But during my bye week at Utah, I had the opportunity to one of our defensive coaches, Jay Hill. He's now the head coach up at Weber State, but he was a defense back coach at the time, and he was always backpedaling in front of me and saying, "Hey, come over to the dark side. Come over to the dark side." And, after Urban Meyer left, what was that, back in 2005? He went to Florida, and then our defensive coordinator, Kyle Whittingham, became the head coach, and he was a defensive-minded head coach. And those guys on defense were always just having fun. It's just a different world, offense and defense and football. Is just, the offensive guys are very scripted, very methodical. Defense is just very disruptive and just get to the ball, get to the quarterback, right? And those guys were having fun. And so I went up to my coach and I was like, "Hey, man, were you serious about, coming over to the dark side?" And he was like, "Yeah, man, we'd love to have you." He was like, "But you got to talk to the head coach and go talk to Whittingham." And I was like, "All right." So I went up to his office and kind of told him I was interested. And that week during our bye week, put me at corner doing some one-on-one drills, and he did well. I think I had a couple interceptions. My teammate Sean Smith, he ended up getting drafted too. But
Oh yeah, I remember him.
yeah, yeah. So I was going against him and some of these other guys, man, and did well. And I didn't see the offensive ball since, and just love defense. And then so when I got to my senior year, I had a coach, J.D. Williams, to bring him back. He was a former NFL guy, first round pick. He was my coach, and he was just kind of grooming me for the NFL. And that was one of those times where I just had to really believe it, because we were a good team, we're good, and coming up in college, everybody has the aspiration of hey, going to the next level and getting drafted. But when the scouts start coming around your football facility and at practice, and coaches like, hey, scouts are here, kind of, he just started telling me, hey, you need to start practicing like a draft guy, first round guy, start practicing, playing like it, studying like it, because that could be you, that they're here for you. And that was just kind of a surreal moment, man. That I just had to believe in myself at the time that, I've always had confidence, but it was one of those things like, man, this is a dream that's going to become a reality. I just got to do my part kind of deal. And, so, yeah, man, after that, man, getting to the draft and get drafted, man. And that was just surreal going to Carolina because before you get drafted, you do the rookie visits, right?
Yeah.
So I went to like 5 other teams before the draft, and I'm going to like Carolina. Oh, no, I didn't go to Carolina. I went to Tampa. I'm sorry. I went to like Seattle Raiders, and I think Cincinnati. And I'm thinking I'm going to the Raiders, man. I'm thinking I'm going to the Raiders because Al Davis was still there at the time, and they love just fast
They love
guys.
some speed over there in
Yeah,
that
they just
era.
love speed, man. And and my 40 time was down there. I'm a 4.3 guy, so I was just like, I go up there and meet some of the legends like Willie Brown and some of these old school players that are around the front office, and I had a good time. Go to lunch with the coaches, and then the draft comes and hear nothing from them. They draft like 5 other DBs that year,
Mm.
and just going down the draft, right? It's like first round, second round, third round, fifth round comes. It's like, all right, so it's like the most stressful and exciting time. And then within like 5 minutes, you start getting phone calls from different teams, just kind of filling you out, like, hey, we got this pick in this round, and we're thinking about taking you here, and all these other teams start calling, kind of getting you a feel for like, where you at, or other teams contacting you and stuff. And then when Carolina called, they were just like, hey, we got this next pick, in this round, we're gonna pull the trigger. Are you ready to be a Carolina Panther? And I was like, by this time, I'm stressed out. I'm excited. I'm like, oh yeah, let's do it. And
Man, that's crazy.
Did Marty Herney call you?
Yeah, so it was Marty Herney, and then then John Fox was the head coach. So you get called by the coaches start calling you. My defensive back coach, it was Ron Milas at the time, so he calls. Then speak to the defense coordinator after that, and yeah, you just get a feel for the coaches. And funny story, man, with my DP coach Ron Milas. After the draft happens, he calls me. We're on the phone for like 30 minutes, right? And he's like giving me this whole spiel because they have another guy, Richard Marshall, that's an LA guy who went to Fresno State.
He got picked in 06 too. That wasn't too long ago.
Yeah. So he was up there in 06. I think he was a 4-year guy at the time, and so he's an LA guy. Kind of came with that attitude, right? LA attitude, I guess. That kind of bumped heads, and he just sat me down for like 30 minutes on the phone, just like, hey, we don't want those same kind of problems. I know you guys from the same area kind of deal, but we're excited to have you, and just picking up the system and all this stuff, man. So that was a good little lecture before I even got up there, man. But it was my first love, man. They were the team that pulled the trigger, so I'm forever grateful for Carolina.
A question I had about going back to college, you were talking about scouts coming in. Do they come to like practice, or like are they able to just sit in and watch practice?
Sometimes they do.
Yeah, they watch practice, and then they come and then they watch film.
Yeah, so, okay, that's what I was. That's because I heard you say study like a pro, and I was like, so they must sit in on meetings too.
Yeah. Well, they weren't always in our personal meetings. They would literally just come and watch film on their own about the players that they're interested in. So they would be in there watching film like we would be watching film, but it wasn't always with the players. It was just them literally doing their job. Yeah, I got you. Yeah, they were just like getting their game film, getting their tapes together, and then they would come watch a practice.
Yeah, got you.
They'll ask the coaches a lot of stuff too, usually.
Is it pretty obvious when they're there? Like, is it?
Yeah, I mean, they're always in the background somewhere. There's not like on the field, but they're kind of in the stands and just walking around the sidelines, and you kind of know.
You're like, I've never seen that guy before. Wow.
Yeah, exactly. They don't speak, we don't speak to them. It's not, we don't have that communication with them, but you kind of know what's going on.
That's pretty cool, though. Just knowing they're there walking around. That's crazy.
Yeah.
When you first got into Carolina, there were a lot of, they had still like Chris Gamble and Richard Marshall, like you said, they had a lot of good DBs.
Yeah. So, man, it was all those guys, Charles Godfrey, our safety at the time. So when I got there, man, I really appreciate those guys because there were some veteran guys, right? And here I am, fresh with another rookie, Robert McClain.
Okay.
And so we get up there, man, and we really just get groomed, and they take us under their wings, man. And I really appreciate CJ Wilson. He was a 4-year guy at the time. And Chris Gamble, we formed an awesome relationship. And there was really just, the thing that really struck me about it was really where I got groomed up because it was a new environment, but it's such a dog-eat-dog world, right, in the NFL where – they're playing for your livelihood, and this is how they feed their family, right? But then you have this guy like Chris Gamble and CJ Wilson that'll pull you over to the sideline and say, hey, this is how you should work the technique, and this is how you should play this guy. And like they're just giving you all the, kind of techniques and secrets to success on how to be successful in the league, and also just how the game works per se, because, as a rookie, you're not getting, 60 snaps, right? You're just getting like maybe 2 reps in practice, 3 reps in this drill, 5 reps in this drill. So you're very limited on your reps. So you just have to make every rep count. And, if you get a ball caught on you or you miss a tackle, like it's a huge deal because you're like, yo, I only got two plays, So those guys really sat me down, just like, hey, don't worry about that. Just focus on being consistent, focus on being better, and being a student of the game, because in college and in high school, you could really just be an athlete, right? You could just be, you could run fast, jump high, and all that stuff. But like when you get to the NFL, where they say the game picks up speed, is just because the knowledge is like there's no time to get babysat. It's just like, hey, we have this meeting in the morning. We're going to install these plays, and then we're going to go out in an hour and run these plays, and you better not mess them up. You know what I mean? You mess them up, you're going to get benched. So that's why the game picks up speed, because you need to know what you're doing, and not just what you're doing, what the other guys are doing on the field and where your help is coming from. So that's what those guys were like, grooming me and teaching me about. And so I really appreciate that, because at the end of the day, I'm like, yo, these guys are helping me to be successful, but ultimately to take their position one day. And mind you, there's only 2 corners, maybe 3 corners on the field at one time with 2 safeties. So there's limited spots on the field, but these guys are saying, hey, you know what? I don't care about that, because if I get injured or if I'm not here, I need you to step up and win this game for us, just like if I was out there, you know what I mean? And so that was just, it was new, and that was unique because it was rare. You just don't get that from a lot of guys.
They had a pretty good linebacking core too while you were there. They had like TD, was it still there, or was it early?
Yeah.
John
yeah,
Beeson was still there.
John Beeson, yep.
What's it like sharing a
Do you
locker room?
remember Nick Harris? We had him on. I don't know. If
Yeah. And I remember Nick Harris, man. Yeah, he was a special team guy with me, but he was
He can
Mr.
fly.
Smooth. What's it like sharing a locker room with those guys? Those gigantic names like John Beeson and TD and Chris Gamble. Like, whenever you the first time the first time you show up, and I guess you're sharing a locker room. What's it like whenever you're looking around and you're like, this is real?
Yeah. No, I definitely had to pinch myself, man, because like the first meeting that you go to, right? You're like, mind you, there's only 53 guys on the roster, right? And it's like, you come into this team meeting room, and there's coaches that are standing in the back, and then there's only so many seats in this meeting room, and then there's one for you though, and that was like the surreal part, because you're sitting next to, like, I had Steve Smith,
right?
God. A Utah guy.
Oh my God.
So you're sitting next to, I'm a rookie sitting next to Steve Smith, 10-year guy, $10 million guy, right?
Yeah, a guy who you could argue is one of the best receivers ever.
Right. And so,
and this is at a meeting, you're saying?
Yeah, this is just a team meeting, right? So you're sitting around. We had Jordan Gross, offensive lineman, another Utah guy. You're sitting with Matt Khalil. Just like I said, John Beeson, you named Thomas Davis. So you're in this meeting room with all these guys from different pay scales, but also different levels in their career, right? And first-year guys to 12-year guys, right? And but there's a seat there for you. And so that was a moment that you really just got to pinch yourself. And the locker room, it was a good environment, man. It was definitely, you kind of see, your offensive linemen, they click, they're always hanging out. You got your special teams guys over here. We had John Casey and JJ Jensen. They're over here reading books, right? They're like in their corner.
It doesn't surprise me, those two, really.
Yeah, no, those guys are great. Those guys are great. Those guys were the financial gurus. Those guys were the professors of the team, right? And then you got, the linebackers, right? Those guys are, just A-type, just always clowning around and messing around. And the defensive guys are just different as a whole, man. They're always just kind of clowning around, messing around. But, definitely a good chemistry with these guys when I first came in. But, it was just surreal, man, because you like I said, you have a seat in the meeting room, you find your locker, and you just have to integrate yourself, into the culture and just what's going on, man. So
yeah, that's insane. Because you're one of, if you're on the 53-man roster, you're one of the 0.01% of the athletes in the world, like on an NFL team. There's there's 53 spots and there's 32 teams.
Yeah,
it's so limited, and you're one of. It's probably unbelievable to walk in and look around and you're like, I'm one of these guys now. Like, this is crazy.
Yeah.
What was it kind of like when they were like have you go in like for game time?
For game time?
Yeah, like your first experience going out in a real game.
Oh man, let me tell you. So Thomas Davis, man. So Thomas Davis, right? And mind you, Carolina is a Bible Belt, right? So it was a great core group of guys, man. And so Thomas Davis, before we even took the field, man, like I said, I got groomed up pretty good there. But in the locker room, we had these team prayers before the meetings, and Thomas Davis would go into the team meeting room, turn off the lights, and we'd interlock arms, lights off. This first time experience, right? And so he's just like uh, repeating these scriptures, like if God is for us, who could be against us? And like we all repeated after that, right? And it's like, if God is for us, who could be against us? Uh, and so everybody's repeating that, and then after that, somebody usually just prays. Somebody just prays, and so we all do that as a team collectively. Get out and get ready to take the field, man. And I remember one of our first games. I think it was preseason. It was a preseason game, right? So preseason we played the Ravens, and I get to see Ray Lewis do his thing out the tunnel, right? And you see it on TV, you see it growing up for me, and then actually being on the same field, having to go against the Ravens and this team, and you see Ray Lewis do his dance out the tunnel, and he's grabbing the grass, and shimmying across, that kind of stuff was like, wow, like this is hit. And then it's no longer you get to idolize these guys, but these guys are your rivals at this time. I mean, these guys are here to disrespect you. You know what I mean? Like you got to go out here and play some football, and you're on the same field as these guys. So you just got to do your job. So yeah, it was an awesome experience though. Game time.
That's crazy. And they had Ed Reed coming out, and I'm just thinking all the Ravens that would have been there at that time right now.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, they had all the legends there too. I mean, still, man. Yeah. So, I mean, that was just one of the first experiences. I mean, but game time is definitely a unique experience, man, because you see all the different personalities, kind of how guys prepare and get ready for the games, right? You got some guys like just listening to music, and some guys hitting the hot tub, cold tub, and some guys just stretching. Some guys are working out. Some guys are just quiet, And you just get to see all the different dynamic personalities.
And didn't you had a pick against the Ravens during your time on the Dolphins, right?
Yeah. So, man, let me tell you that. So that's
ironically against Steve Smith, I think.
Yeah. So that's the story in itself, man. So mind you, yep, in Carolina, right? And so mind you, in practice, I'm going against Steve Smith every day in practice, and this is my rookie year coming in, and this was one of the times where I had to really like slap myself and saying, yo, this guy, though you can't worry about all his accolades, right? Like who he is as a football player, you have to go against and guard this guy. And so in practice, I'm going against this guy, and we're doing one-on-one drills. And mind you, for defense, you're at a little disadvantage, right? We're doing like red zone drills, and we're doing one-on-ones. And my coach pulls me aside and says like, hey, like, hey, relax. Like, you're as good as this guy that you're lining up against, and even better, like, because you have to guard this guy, you have to defend this guy, and you kind of put the humanity perspective to it. Like, man, this guy, he's really out here trying to win, right, and disrespect you. So you have to disrespect him before he disrespects you. And when I say disrespect, I'm talking about catching balls, right,
Yeah.
and making touchdowns. So you got to guard this guy because basically he's trying to come
He's trying to
into your
prove he's
house.
better than you while you're
Right.
trying to do the same thing to him.
Yeah, but exactly. But at the same time, you have to realize, man, you're good to play at this level. Like, you're here just like he's here. You're on this field. So mind you, yeah, we had a great relationship, man. Me and Steve, we built that back in Carolina. He was just one of the guys that I looked to as a mentor. And I respect his work ethic, man. He was catching balls one-handed before Odell Beckham, man. He was just like every day.
Oh yeah, we remember.
Practice. Yeah. He's just the way he worked on the field, man, is just honorable, man. And you just love, and then you get to know him on a personal level, man. He invites you over to his house, man, and just joke around and play with, just mess around with you. And then so fast forward to that game with the Ravens, and now he's on the Ravens, and now I'm in Miami. And this was my second game coming back to Miami after being released and going to Cincinnati and Detroit. And I came back to Miami. I started Monday Night Football, and then the next week we played the Ravens, and now my matchup was Steve Smith.
Oh, Monday Night Football against him.
Yeah, so Steve Smith was my matchup. And going against him all day, man. And just having fun. The first play, I think they threw it to him. It was like Flacco kind of overthrew it. It was incomplete, but we just talk a mess from play one. Just talk a mess from play one. And
it was mutual, or he was doing it?
No, he started it.
Oh, okay. That's what I'm probably. That's pretty much what I thought.
Yeah, he's gonna start it. But no, it was mutual, man, because we do have a friendship and a relationship, man. So it wasn't like hostile like that. It was just friendly trash talking kind of deal. But yeah, then we go into right before the halftime, I think it was, man. And, they called the timeout right before that play. And I just had a feeling, man, they're going to throw it to him. We're in zero coverage, right? No help. We're backed up in the goal line, red zone, and they previously just called a timeout. They've sent him back out there. And, man, just kind of good communication, because I knew I didn't have any help, but, man, we had some good pressure. Our D-line was awesome. Yeah, I never not give credit to our D-line.
They probably had like Cameron Wake back then. And
yeah, we had Olivia Vernon, Cameron Wake, man. Like, yeah, I played with Randy Starks and all these guys, man. So they were always constantly putting the pressure on the quarterbacks, which I appreciate. So
Rashad Jones up safety too.
Yeah, Rashad Jones, man. Like, yeah. So the defense was awesome, man. I played with some great guys in Miami. And yeah, they threw up that ball, man, and just went up and got it. It was like kind of like a jump ball kind of situation. So did that, man, and you see Steve just walk off.
He knew you were gonna say something.
Yeah, he just runs off real quick. But no, it was good. It was good, man. It was one of those things that came full circle for me. Going from, practicing against Steve Smith, my rookie year, to being a starter, and then playing him, again on a different team, and we're both on different teams. So now we're really going against each other kind of deal. So it was awesome. It was one of those moments that you just take forever, with you playing in the league. So.
Who is your other interception against?
Drew Brees.
Oh my God! Did you keep both the balls?
Yeah. So they're at my mom's house, though. My mom got like a little shrine, man. We put them in a little box, a glass box,
crazy.
Yeah, so she keeps a lot of my jerseys, footballs, and all that.
Who were you covering on the Drew Brees one, or was it like a zone?
Well, you know what? It was, I came off of coverage because they were throwing it to Sproles. So Sproles was in the backfield. He was doing like a little wheel route, right? And so they try to send two receivers up. I think it was Colson or somebody. So they send two receivers up, try to dig me out of there, and just take me away from the play. And then they bring a little swing route behind me to Sproles, and I just came off that route guarding those receivers, and I seen Brees, looking to throw to Sproles coming out on a wheel route, and that's when I picked it, and went 53, man. One of the linemen had a good angle, got me before I could go for 6, but that was
crazy.
awesome. I went 53, but it was Drew Brees, so it was my first one, and who he is, in the league. So
that was your first one?
Yeah, that was my first one.
What year was that?
Man, it had to have been like 2011.
11 or 12. I think Sproles had left by then, about 13.
Yeah, it had to have been then. Yeah.
Wow. Is it whenever you get your first interception, do you kind of, like, after you said you got tackled, so do you kind of stand up and you kind of froze for a minute, or are you just like, oh my God?
No, actually, Greg Hardy, man, one of my defensive linemen, Greg Hardy picks me up.
By the way, we love Greg Hardy.
Yeah,
absolutely. That dude, we are on him for MMA. I've been on him since day one.
Yeah, he's replied to you on Twitter.
He's like, he's quoted like 5 of my tweets about him being in MMA.
Yeah, you gotta get him on your show, man. You gotta get him.
You gotta help us out because we're trying.
We get him on any day.
Yeah, I'll talk to him. But yeah. So he's a great guy, man. Greg Hardy, man, just an animal on the field, man. One of those guys that you'll go to fight, go to war with. But yeah, he just picked me up, man. He's a big dude. He picks me up. I'm over here trying to talk mess, and he just like picks me up and carries me to the other side of the sideline.
Huge guy. Probably could pick you up with just a couple fingers.
He just carries me to the other side of the sideline, man. So,
dang.
And you were there in 2011 the whole time, right?
Yeah.
What was it kind of like whenever like Cam came in and Ron Rivera came in, and like it was just the whole kind of changing of the franchise and stuff?
Yeah. So it was, like I said, I came in with John Fox as the head coach, and then we had Ron Rivera, and the whole new coaching staff was coming in, and Jimmy Clausen was the quarterback at the time, right? And then here comes Cam, and there was a lot of controversy at first. There was a lot of controversy because they were talking about Scam Newton and all this stuff, right? And here comes Cam, and he's just like a big kid, right? Like a big kid doing turtle spins on the grass. He's just always having fun doing our our warm ups and our pre stretches, and he's just he wasn't the typical it's always great when you have a quarterback that's very relatable and personal to just the other teammates, and they don't feel like they're so high and mighty because of their position, right? And it's like he's inviting guys over to play Madden, and just little things like that, man. Just hanging out with guys, because they're you got teammates that kind of just seclude themselves, and he wasn't one of those. He was just one of those guys that's like, hey, I'm here. I'm here to have fun with you guys and win some games, man. And it was just a big kid, and so he definitely helped change the culture around there. Like I said, my first year we went like 2-14, man. So that was a long season. But after that, it was just very promising.
You got 6 wins, and next year kind of turned it around a little bit.
Yeah, 6 wins, and then it was a little controversy because at the same time we had Steve Smith still there, and they were kind of going back and forth a little bit about some of the receptions and stuff, and so it was a little drama, in-home drama.
Probably rather be on defense. There's some of that.
Yeah. But you definitely helped change the culture, man. So it was good. It was one of those refreshing things.
We went down to the 2011 training camp before the season.
Oh, okay.
And you could just tell it was like a different atmosphere. Like it felt like this is like, it felt like there's a little bit more energy. Like this is about to turn around kind of thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, we got to meet Jordan.
They probably saw you like covering some people and not even knowing it.
We met like Jordan Gross and Steve Smith while we were there. Mike Tolbert. We got an autograph book with
not Mike. It was Mike Goodson.
I mean, yeah. We got an autograph book with like, I think there's probably 15 signatures.
Armani Edwards was down there. We talked to him a little bit.
Yeah, Armani. Yep.
That was the crazy thing. That was the craziest thing ever watching that. Just Cam brings an atmosphere with him. An atmosphere follows that dude that's so unique.
Does he talk to the DBs the way they make it sound?
Is he tough on them?
Like, no, talk to him like in practice, like how he does on like the press conferences. They make it sound like he likes to kind of have a little fun rivalry during practice and stuff.
Oh yeah. Exactly. Yeah. That was when Josh Norman came too. So they were butting heads, having a little fun rivalry, man, between each other. And typically, in practice, especially camp, you can't touch the quarterbacks and all this stuff, right? They got the red jerseys on, but when it came to Cam, he'd try you on defense, so it's just like you got to thump him a little bit. He could take it though. He's a big guy.
That dude's huge, man. That dude is crazy.
Yeah. So, it was always definitely a fun rivalry with Cam, man. Defense.
That's unbelievable, man.
We got to ask you a little bit about Miami because I don't want everybody to be like, "What's up with not asking anything about it?" Who are some of the?
It's all good.
Who are some of the guys in Miami that were kind of fun to do the same kind of stuff with in practice?
Oh man, well, see, Miami is a whole nother beast, man. Because I played with 5 guys that I went to college with: Paul Soliai, Cole Messi, Sean Smith, Derek Shelby. We eventually had Bryce McCain that came. But as a whole, man, we had some characters, man, like Rashad Jones. We had Chris Clemens, another safety at the time. But man, there was Reggie Bush at the time, man.
Oh, I forgot he was down there. Then.
Yeah, we had Reggie Bush. We had Brian Hartline, Kenny Stills came a little later, but Mike Wallace was there. And I came right when Ocho Cinco was leaving. So I didn't get a chance to mess with him too much.
Didn't you guys get Hard Knocks too?
Yeah, it was that same year. Like I came right after the Hard Knocks thing, the deal. But yeah, those guys, man. Like I said, it was super fun. Sean Smith, he was my roommate in college. He's just one of my brothers, man. We used to ride from California to back to school together, man. And so being able to play with him on the same field and across from me was just awesome, man. We were joking around right before the play, man. I'm like, yo, this is crunch time. We got zero coverage, and he's over here joking around, and just he just brought a lot of levity to the team, man, and just we had man, we had some clowns, man. You know, the incognito situation, maybe.
Oh,
Jonathan
I
Martin.
forgot that happened too.
Yeah, yeah. So we had some characters, man, but it was all in fun, man. It was a great organization. I'm talking about from the front office, man, to my coaches. They showed a lot of love, and man, I just had a great time. It was just obviously one of the awesome places to play in South Florida, and you're in the league. So um, besides the IVs before and after practice, man, you lost a lot of body fluids.
Yeah,
Make sure you
hot.
hydrate it.
I
Yeah,
don't think I could do that. I was just about to ask you about the heat, how it was.
yeah. The
Which
heat was ridiculous.
Carolina going to Spartanburg is not much better.
Yeah, the Spartanburg, man, was tough in camp. You know, at Wofford College, man.
I mean, I
Out
hear
there,
guys say it's no joke.
I mean, we've
yeah,
been
it's
down
just
there like and like checked it out, but I haven't ever like had to go out and do everything. That was
Yeah, I couldn't
think that
imagine
was
putting
pretty
pads
high.
on.
the air doesn't move, man. You know, that's all. The air is just like humid. It just doesn't move. So you're in the pads, and, you know, running around all day. So
This is gonna sound crazy, but we actually do talk about this a lot in our own free time. Is Spartanburg, is it up there as hot as Miami? I mean, we always wonder.
uh, with the humidity, it's different. So it was a little different. It's a little different. Miami still had the sunshine that would beat on you, and you had the humidity, and you're just dripping like the moment you walk out in Miami. Um, in Spartanburg, when we were out there, you still have to run around. You know, it's just thick. It was thicker.
There's no
right? It was
wind.
just thick. Yeah, there's no wind over there. In Miami, you had wind, so it was hot and humid, but you had a little wind. You know, you had some rain come fall. You know, it was always raining sometimes too, so that helped a little bit. Spartanburg, you just didn't get that as often. You know, so
Don't you
that
guys
was
have
the
to
thing.
like room down there too? They have the little dorms that you guys stay in.
Yeah, in Spartanburg, yeah, yeah. So a college student, man, and very bare minimum, man. I had a air mattress. I'm roomed up with another guy, one of my safeties, Jordan Pugh,
Oh,
who was
okay,
my
I
dorm
remember.
mate. Yeah, every camp, you know, we were roomed up together. One of my safeties, and man, he had allergies. You know, the pollen would kick up, you know, during that time.
Gosh,
So he was popping Claritin like a candy, and we were out there sleeping on air mattress, man. So it was definitely a humbling and a brotherhood environment.
the NFL is a
Um,
crazy business.
yeah,
It's a lot more than show up and play a game on Sunday. You know,
yeah,
it's a lot more than that. People don't get it, but it's a lot more.
yeah, yeah.
One personal question I had before we kind of tone this thing down a little bit is me as a my personal view right now. I'm very high right now on Dante Jackson. Obviously I'm a Panthers fan, but
Okay.
I don't know if you keep up with anything. We talk to some guys who don't really keep up with the league that much anymore. Um, if you do keep up with him, what are your thoughts on him?
I don't. I'm one of those guys who now I get to appreciate it as a fan, and I
Yeah,
have a different appreciation. I don't follow it like I used to, or as I've been. You know, just being a student and studying everybody. So I just kind of like I just have my teams, right. I do follow the Carolina and Miami, but I'm not keeping up like weekly stats and like
yeah,
everything I used to do. So
I got
my
you.
opinion is going to be it's not going to be holistic on that one.
Yeah, I got you.
He's not
No.
ready to do like a film breakdown with
Yeah,
us,
no,
right?
Yeah, yeah.
I didn't know if
wish
it
I
was one of the
could. I'm that guy. Yeah.
playing the same position at the same team. I didn't know if maybe it was a thing you might keep up with him or not, and if it was, I wanted to get your opinion. But
Yeah. No,
I'm
I don't
super
know.
high on him
You
right
tell
now.
me. What's your thoughts? And
Oh,
then I can go
I
back
love
and
him.
kind of.
I love him. We talked about him a lot, personally off air before the season started. And we were kind of worried, and about his size. He's not far from your size, and they were bringing him in as like the starter because we dropped Daryl Worley in the offseason.
I was just mainly worried about like getting against Julio Jones.
Yeah,
and,
like guys like Julio and stuff like
Oh.
that. We were like, oh
Well,
man, that's
well,
gonna
you
be.
gotta think back. You gotta think back and compare him to like Captain Munnerlyn, though. You know what I mean? Those guys.
Yeah, that's what kind of kept us on the side of like, well, maybe this guy can do it. Like, we got Munderland.
Yeah, because Munderland's smaller than like anybody. He's like
Yeah.
5'7".
He's a in cleats. He's 5'7" in cleats.
Yeah, that dude's
So,
tiny. That dude's so
yeah.
small, but he's so good.
Yeah. Yeah. But I mean, it's amazing, man. It's amazing, truly. Not just speaking on him, but just you see guys in the league that might have the measurables that you think, right? Like a big, tall receiver and like, just muscular, but they're soft, right? And they're like, they don't have the mentality.
Yeah, they're out there. So, no doubt about it.
Yeah, so I'd rather take a smaller guy that has heart, that has that tenacity and plays super big, man, because, like, that's what really matters, man, like the guys that are going to grind it out 4 quarters.
Well, that's what he does. Dante Jackson does that all day long. That dude is unbelievable. Like, he's surprised me so much.
Yeah, I didn't think about that. That's one thing that, like, you can't really find out till it's kind of game time.
Yeah. I mean, because we had when I first got to Carolina, we had what's the guy's name from SC? It was like Dwayne Jackson. No,
is he a corner?
No, he's a receiver. Man.
Oh, Dwayne Jarrett.
Dwayne Jarrett.
That was arguably the worst pick we ever had.
Yeah, Dwayne Jarrett, bro. So I'm not talking bad about the guy at all. I'm just saying he had the measurables, right? As a receiver,
6'4",
tall guy, 6'4" guy. But he just the mentality, like, I don't know if the love for the game or just his mental state wasn't where it needed to be, man. So he just didn't play like his size is my point, So you get a guy like Steve Smith though, or a smaller receiver that's playing big, I'll take that all day, every day.
All day.
So you can't
that's what I'm saying. Dang. Well, man, this has been fun.
Yeah, I'm sure I could bog you down with these Panther questions for like another 2 hours straight.
But it's all good, man.
We don't want to take up too much of your day, man. We appreciate your time. It means a lot. It really does. We're super excited about this interview, so thanks for coming on and doing it. And we'd love to catch up down the road, man, and just have some conversations about other stuff in the future. We'd love to do these.
Yeah, we're gonna get Greg Hardy on next, man.
Hey, man, seriously,
talk to Greg Hardy.
If you can get Greg Hardy on, we owe the world to you. If you could do that,
we could do one with you and him or something like that.
Yeah, I like that.
We owe the world to you if you get Greg Hardy on here, because we do a lot of football. And people who listen to our show know this. And they're probably tired of hearing us say it, but we do a lot of football. We have dipped into MMA a lot though lately, and boxing. Yeah. So I mean, we love it.
Yeah, he has a unique story, man. I would love for him to come on and share part of it with you guys.
Shoot him a text or give him a call and give him this number and tell him to hit us up, man.
We'll have to ask him a little Panther stuff too, though. Like
tell him we are some real diehard Panthers fans. I mean, we are diehard.
I already know, man. But I definitely appreciate it, man. You guys blessed me, so man, appreciate it. We'll be keeping in touch.
All right, thanks, buddy. We'll talk to you next time, bud.
All right, man.